Welcome everyone to this webinar. My name is Claire Lee Florentino. I'm a technical consultant for Brixis in the APAC region. Today we'll be sharing with you how CAD software has leveled up to keep with the times and how you can take advantage of machine learning in a DWG-based CAD, something that we might not have expected decades before. We'll also be hearing from Mr. Mohammed Sabir, a CAD expert and influencer who has more than 25 years of experience in the industry. If you have any questions along the way, just type them in and we'll reply to you. Now, before we talk about these exciting machine learning tools, let's first talk about BricsCAD Lite. What is it? Who made it? Brixis is a global provider of cost-effective, modern CAD, BIM, mechanical design software, as well as common data environment products, brought to market under the BricsCAD brand. Brixis is part of Hexagon, a $20 billion publicly traded technology group, and there are about 400,000 Brixis product users in over 110 countries. Brixis is headquartered in Belgium, as you can see here. We have over 200 plus employees around the globe. Brixis presence is global, and the APAC headquarters is in Singapore, with commercial centers in several locations in the region. Well-known and trusted names in various industries also trust BricsCAD. Some of Brixis clients are Mazda, Hyundai, and Bosch. Brixis also collaborates with industry leaders in the building industry like HOK and is a sister company to Leica Geosystems under the Hexagon umbrella. Here are some clients in Southeast Asia and India, which includes names from different industries. And here are some clients in Australia as well, including the Queensland government that trusts BricsCAD as well. Brixis was founded in 2002, concentrating on 2D CAD software development, which is now known as BricsCAD Lite. Through the years, there were numerous developments, including 3D modeling, parametric modeling available in pro level, BIM, mechanical, as well as common data environment BricsCAD Cloud and Brixis 247, which also has a direct connection with BricsCAD itself. These form the BricsCAD solution family. Today's focus will be on BricsCAD Lite. Even if this is the basic offering of Brixis, it packs a lot of powerful productivity and machine learning tools. And the best thing about it, all the tools available in BricsCAD Lite are available in the higher levels. This means you don't have to pick and choose. You just build on top of what you already know and keep on using what you learn. So what is the BricsCAD advantage? Aside from the machine learning tools that we will be discussing later, one major advantage of BricsCAD is the use of DWG. In the BricsCAD environment, everything is in DWG. Whatever you create in 2D is easily usable when you move towards 3D, BIM, and mechanical functionality, including civil design, point clouds, processing, and others. This also aligns with customizations you have made over the years, including CUIs, templates, DSDs, LSPs, and others. Our experience indicates that these are the main areas of customization, and we can confidently say that all your previous efforts will not be wasted because you can bring these assets in to BricsCAD and continue using them. On top of this, you can take advantage of machine learning and productivity tools in BricsCAD. So let's move on to that. How can we move into the future with BricsCAD Lite, a DWG-based CAD software? We leverage on machine learning intelligence, and we have a lot of these in BricsCAD. First, what is intelligence? Based on the Oxford Dictionary, it is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. And how is this related to machine learning? So we'll see here that we have machine learning, a branch of artificial intelligence that operates on the idea that a system can learn from data, identify patterns, and make decisions with minimal human intervention. Machine learning has various fields, including supervised learning, which provides you with data based on your provided inputs or labels, unsupervised learning or self-learning, which provides you with output based on undetected patterns, which are based on probabilities, and deep learning, which we can view as the most human-like in artificial intelligence. And these further relates to optimization, where you can adjust parameters in order to have more efficiency in the process, anomaly detection to identify unexpected occurrences in the data, especially for unlabeled data. So this is where the machine learning comes in, and neural networks, which supports deep learning. So these may seem like they are complicated concepts, but for today, let us just view machine learning as a whole and relate it to automation. After all, after learning from data and identifying patterns and eventually making decisions without much intervention from us, this is what we want our software to do, to help us be more productive by being more efficient and letting the thinking be done by them instead of us having to input a lot of the information ourselves. So in CAD, these translates tools which help automate processes that usually take numerous steps and manual work. To be more specific, let's highlight a few machine learning tools in BricsCAD that can increase our efficiency and productivity when doing CAD work. So for example here, when accessing commands and selecting entities, BricsCAD gives us the option of using the quad cursor and hotkey assistant instead of the ribbon or typing out commands as we probably normally do in the command line. We'll see these later on. So when editing, instead of the usual copy and move, why don't we take advantage of copy guided and move guided? We'll see this in action later, and move guided has actually become one of my personal favorite tools. And when dealing with blocks, why not use Blockify? You can even proceed to create parametric blocks and automatically create parameters and constraints with auto-constraint. BricsCAD promotes the use of parametric blocks instead of dynamic blocks because it's just more powerful, more flexible, and more efficient. So these tools are just some of the machine learning tools that you can find in BricsCAD Lite. And we see here that there are so much more such tools in BricsCAD. These are just some of them. And to show you how you can use these, I'm inviting to the stage Mr. Mohammed Sabir. Sabir is a CAD expert and consultant. He is a trainer, and as a trainer, he has taught more than 17,000 students and has been attached to the Cochin University of Science and Technology for about 25 years. So he does have a lot of experience, extensive experience in civil, architectural, interior, and mechanical modeling. You might also know him from his YouTube channel, where he has more than 146,000 subscribers. His videos have more than 13.7 million views, and that's really just amazing. So I won't delay further and let him show you how he uses the machine learning tools in BricsCAD Lite. Sabir, why don't you join us and share your experience and knowledge to the viewers that we have today.
Thank you so much, Claire, for that nice intro. It's a pleasure to be a part of BricsCAD family. I'm AutoCAD user for more than 25 years and also use other applications such as Revit, 3ds Max, etc. For my BIM and rendering applications. I also work as a design visualization consultant for my clients. Last year, I came across with BricsCAD and Brixus, and I have created a video to introduce this fabulous product to my subscribers of my YouTube channel. By the way, I have a YouTube channel with the name SabirCAD with around 150,000 subscribers. I'm still in the process of exploring this software, and I have realized that it's all-in-one solution for drafting, design, modeling, rendering, and BIM applications. For an AutoCAD user, it's very easy to switch over because of the close resemblance in interface and commands. Interestingly, we can own the software package for a nominal pricing. Because of the machine learning capability of the software, to accomplish a given task, there is always a smarter and better approach. In this webinar, I would like to share with you some of these smart features. Okay. Now I'll move over to the software. First of all, I'll start with dynamic dimensions. See, dynamic dimension is a smart feature in BricsCAD with which you will get an interface to specify the length and angle while you create a linear entity. I'll illustrate it with a simple line. I'll draw a line from here Now you can see that the length and the inclination of the line is getting dynamically updated. Suppose I want to draw a line with a length of 120 units. I can type that distance, and simply by typing the tab key, I can give the angle, I can specify the angle. Now that line is constructed. So on the go, you could specify the dimensions and create such an entity. Now I'll create a table over here. It's a bedroom, and we have a chair over here, and I would like to create a table with the specified dimensions. So I'll start with a rectangle, and I'll start from this particular corner, and the dynamic dimensions are displayed here. I would like the length of the table to be 120 and the width of the table to be 40 units. Now you can easily and flexibly create such a table. So that is the advantage of inputting dynamic dimensions. So whenever you construct a linear entity, this interface will dynamically show the dimensions, which will help you save a lot of time and effort. Okay, now we come to the next feature that is called nearest distance. So as per the nearest distance, you can dynamically view and change the distance between any two selected entities. For example, I want to move this table slightly towards the wall so that the distance between the wall and the table will be 10 units. So all I have to do is select the first entity, which is the wall line, and the second entity, which is the edge of the table. The moment you select these two objects, you will see the distance displayed. Now I'll change the distance by inputting a value of say 10 units. I'll give 10, and you can see the direction of arrow here. So the second object will get moved in the direction of the arrow. So I'll just give an enter. So it is moved. Now I would like to again change this distance between this wall and this edge of the table, and you have got the distance displayed, and I would like to change that distance again to 10 units. So if you select any two entities, it will dynamically show the distance, and the second selected entity will get moved based on the distance value specified by you. Even if it appears like a simple feature, it will help you save a lot of time, because you'll be doing this procedure repetitively whenever you create a drawing, such as a building plan. Okay, so that's a smart feature. Now we'll come to the rollover tips. So rollover tips in BricsCAD interface shows everything that you need and nothing that you don't. That is, you can get properties and parameters by simply hovering the cursor over an entity. For example, let me take this particular table. So when I take the cursor onto this table, you know that it's a circle. The moment you take the circle, the moment you hover the cursor onto this table, it will show you the properties such as color. It will show you the properties such as color and the layer in which it is created, and it will also show you the parameters such as its radius and area. So based on the object that is selected, the software immediately gives you these rollover tips. For example, if I change the object to this line, if I take it onto this line, then the parameters, the length, which you always need, right? Now, if I take the cursor onto this text, then you need the parameter as the height. Okay. Now, you can always get extended properties and parameters from the properties panel, which is ready here. So when you select this object, and the properties panel will show you the whole lot of parameters, the properties such as color, layer, line type scale, plot scale, line type transparency, as well as all the parameters, creation parameters. So this rollover tips is again a time saver, because at any point of time, you can get these relevant information such as the area, length, radius, etc. Okay, now we come to the next smart feature, which, to be frank, I haven't seen in any of the CAD softwares I have worked so far. And this feature is actually built-in. It's because of the built-in intelligence that is incorporated in the software. The software, according to me, thinks ahead of you. Okay, so if you use this feature, you can save a lot of time and effort by saving the mouse movements, unnecessary keystrokes and all that. And the feature is called quad cursor menu. So when I take the cursor, I'll explain it with the help of the same circle. So I'll take the cursor onto the circle and you will see the quad here. The quad you can get even otherwise, even without hovering on an object. Simply by right-clicking on the mouse on the screen, you can get this quad menu. So the quad menu will show you it's a context-sensitive menu actually, using which you can do anything and everything related with the entities that you select. If you do not select entities, even then it will show you information such as the modify, the menus for modification, drawing, inserting, general, and things like that. And if you select an object, you will get the most relevant operations related with that object by category. And thereby you can save a number of keystrokes and mouse movements. I'll take the cursor onto the circle, and here you can offset the circle, and you can trim the circle, and all the commonly used editing commands are displayed. And if you want, you can you can edit. You can go to modify menu. Here you can manipulate it. You can erase it. You can move the circle, and you can copy it. You can mirror. All the commonly used editing operations are at your fingertips. So you don't have to hover. You don't have to go to all those these commands, which is conventionally hidden in the ribbon. Then you will take some time to locate these commands, because the commands which you see ribbon may not be relevant to the objects that you choose. Here, that's not the case. Here, only those commands which are relevant to the object that you select is displayed. For example, if I want to copy the circle, all I have to do is just click on the copy command. It'll ask you for a base point and a second point. It is just the conventional copy. Okay, and you will see more smart features like copy guided after some time. Now, this is how you make use of the quad cursor, quad menu. And this quad menu, as I told you before, is a very handy interface which will let you save a lot of time and effort, and it's a real good productivity tool. Now we come to the next smart feature, which is called a hotkey assistant. Hotkey assistant, now I'll erase the circle. Now, hotkey assistant will give you hotkeys whenever you hover a cursor on an entity. I'll hover the cursor onto this particular rectangle. So you can see a small menu appearing underneath, which starts with control. Then I think you can see that control. Now, and then the first selection is the entity selection, and the second selection is the sub-entity selection. That means if I make a click now, this entire rectangle will get selected, which is the entity, which is nothing but a polyline. Suppose if you want to select a particular segment from here, all you have to do is just hold on the control key, and you have moved on to the sub-segment or sub-entity level selection. Now you have selected only this particular segment of the polyline. Now, by combining the quad, you can choose only those specific operations that can be done onto that particular sub-entity, which is the segment of a polyline. Suppose if I want, you can add a vertex right at the middle of this segment. So I'll just click on that, and I have inserted a vertex right at the middle. Now, by inserting a vertex, if you just click on this polyline, you can see that you have subdivided this segment. Previously, it was a single segment. Now it is split into two segments. But conventionally, in other CAD softwares, you have to make use of a different command to get this task done. Now I'll again move on to this. Again, I'll hover the cursor. I've got the same hotkeys. I'll hold down the control key. Now the subselection will let me select that particular subdivided segment. Now I'm going to execute some editing operation like changing the bulge of that particular segment. So click on that. I have changed the bulge. Thereby, I have altered the shape of that table. So it's all at your fingertips. As I've told you before, Hotkey Assistant is a very powerful feature using which you can decide as to whether you have to select the object as a whole, or you have to move on to the sub-object level, and you can incorporate all the necessary editing operations which are specific to that sub-object. Oh, so that's a very fabulous feature, Hotkey Assistant. And now we come to the next smart feature in BricsCAD, that is called a real-time boundary detection. So BricsCAD has got the capability to detect the boundaries in real time. That is a real time saver, according to me, because in other softwares, in order to trace the boundaries, you have to give some additional editing, additional boundary, creation commands. And boundary creation is always required in computer-aided design because these profiles, which are boundaries, can be used to calculate, to perform some area calculation and things like that. Now, I'm going to activate this enable boundary detection option at this over here on top. Now, after that, if you take the cursor onto this, you can see that that boundary is identified. Okay, now I would like to I'll create a circle right at the middle of this arc. Okay, now you can see that when I take simply by hovering the cursor onto this area, that particular annular portion is identified. Now, if I keep it here, that portion is identified, and it has not only identified it, and it will highlight you by shading that area. You will also get information such as perimeter, area, etc. So that particular shaded portion's perimeter and area is instantly displayed. Okay. Now, not only that, using the quad, you can perform a lot of other tasks. For example, if you want, you can offset this particular rectangle, this particular profile through an offset distance. Okay, so we have offsetted it. Now I would like to perform another operation. I'll hover the cursor onto the circle. Now you can perform a hatching. Just click that it is hatched. Okay, whereas in other CAD softwares, you have to invoke hatch command to hatch that area. So simply by detecting the boundaries, you can see the boundaries highlighted, and you can calculate the area and perimeter of that boundary, and you can also do some most relevant editing operations such as offsetting the boundary, and you can also perform hatching at any desired area inside the boundary. So these are all a click away from the mouse. So it's that smart. So I'm sure that you will definitely enjoy the real-time boundary detection in BricsCAD because it's a real good productivity tool.
Thanks, Abir. Yeah, those are really great tools that you showed us just now. They're a great start on some of the tools that you wanted to show today. I'm really also excited about that boundary detection, which I also use a lot. I know that you also were quite excited with some of the other tools relating to copying and moving entities, which actually are two of the most commonly used commands that we have in the industry. So do you mind to share and show us those tools that can help us copy and move entities in a more smart way?
Yes, Claire, I'll demonstrate that feature. That is one of my favorite features. Because conventionally, when you copy objects, see, copying and moving objects are one of the most commonly used editing commands in any CAD software. And we are quite used to the normal conventional copy command. I'll demonstrate that first so that you'll be able to appreciate the copy guided feature better. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'll execute the normal copy command. I would like to copy this window from here onto this area, onto this vertical wall. So what you do is you just give copy command, select the base point, and take the cursor onto this area. Then you have to give a rotate command, then rotate it, then select the base point, then you have to give a rotation angle, then again you have to move it. Okay, these are the conventional tasks here. In the process of bringing that particular window onto that wall, I have to use 3 editing commands. Or else the next alternative is to block it, then you have to insert it. But even blocking and insertion needs some time, and there are some procedures involved. But in copy guided, that's not the case. It's all these operations can be done in a much more smarter and intelligent way. So I'll go to copy guided and I'll select this window. Now the copy guided, after selecting the entities in copy guided, their relationship to their reference curve will automatically guide you to the inserting it onto different locations, to different similar locations. So this particular line is the guideline which I have selected. I'll repeat it once more. I'll show you. I'll keep copy guided, selected the object within a window. While selecting it, you can see that two wall lines, the color of the two wall lines got changed to blue, which means that those two wall lines are guide curves. Okay. And now you can see the arrows here. Now this is a normal thing which you just keep it here. And now, but when it comes to this area, see it is getting automatically aligned with that area. Okay. Now I'll just insert a copy of it here and one more copy here. And not only that, it has cleared this area. It has performed all sort of cleanups. Otherwise, after inserting, you have to perform trimming, erasing and all, right? You have saved a lot of time because the cleanups is also done simultaneously. So copy guided is a very powerful and intelligent feature. And I'll illustrate the same copy guided with one more example. Let me just copy this chair. So I'll go to copy guided. I'll select this chair. And I'll select this chair using a standard window. And this time I'm going to use this edge as the guideline. You can see that it is the color of that particular edge got changed. Now I'm going to keep this around this dining table. So you can see that it is aligned automatically along a curve because you know the shape of the dining table is circular. Now I can give an angle of, I can specify an angle to precisely locate it. So it's 90 degrees and it is located at 48 degrees and it is 0 degrees. And at this angle, likewise, simply by moving it, you can align it along that curvular, along that circular path. So this is a power of copy guided. Okay, there is no limit to this application. I believe I'm strongly convinced that it is a real time saver because it's a replacement of several editing commands. Now we come to the move guided, which is relatively a new feature because that is introduced in the latest version V21 of BricsCAD. It is similar to copy guided, but after selecting entities, their relation to their reference curve will automatically guide you to moving the entities in similar location. In copy guided, you have copied it, whereas in move guided, you are moving it. That's the difference. And in addition to that, move guided will also let you simply perform cleanups in a given area. Let's see that first. So I'll go for move guided from here. Now I'll select this window. Suppose I don't want that window there. Okay. Conventionally, you have to erase it. Let's see the conventional procedure. Okay. I'll erase this first conventionally. Okay. Then there's a gap. I have to fill it by drawing lines. Drawing lines. Then I have to erase these vertical lines. Okay. Sorry. Then I have to erase these vertical lines. Okay. So these are the procedure involved. Whereas if you use move guided, all you have to do is just click on move guided command, select it using a standard window, and just locate it outside the drawing. See what happened. Everything is done in one go. All the patch ups, cleanups, everything is done in one go. So this is one of the basic application of this command, which has attracted me. Then another thing, of course, you can move it and locate it precisely on a different location. For example, I'll move this using the move guided command. I'll select this window. Now I would like to keep it right here. See, it has located onto the different location. Orientation is properly adjusted. The cleanup's done, and the cleanup is also automatically done from the area from where it is taken. So everything in one go. See the time, see how much time and effort you have saved. So Move Guided is one of the fabulous features of the latest version of BricsCAD V21, and in fact you can explore these features on your own, because you can download BricsCAD. You will get a 30-day trial version. You can try out these features. It's very simple but very powerful. Now, Claire, do you want to say something?
Yeah. Looks great, Sabir. Move Guided is really impressive. I share your sentiments about Move Guided. It's really, really cool, and it saves a lot of time. And I know that you still want to show us more features on blocks that pertains to blocks, parameters, and other optimization tools. I see you still have a lot of files there ready for us to see the magic.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
proceed. Just show us what you've got.
Okay, thank you, Claire. I'll move ahead. Now we'll see another fabulous feature in BricsCAD, that is Blockify. See, Blockify will let you create a block. The software will automatically create a block for the user after identifying similar geometry in a drawing. That is Blockify. For some of you, it may be a new feature, I'm sure, because I think it's a new feature. I haven't seen this feature in any of the CAD software. Putting it simply, you can say it's just the opposite of explode command. I've received several queries from my students because at times to reduce the file size, they explode almost all blocks in a drawing, because one of the procedure by which you can reduce the file size, right? So after exploding it, at some point they change their mind and they want to convert all these objects back to blocks. That's a helpless situation. Whereas Blockify is a feature which will let you do this. I'll show you that. So you just click on Blockify and I'll select this particular 2-panel window. I've got several such windows in this drawing that you should remember, but these windows are in the exploded state. So these are all in different objects. This is one window, another one, second, third one. Likewise, I have the fourth, fifth, likewise several such windows I have. It's a double-storied residence plan. So what I'll do is I'll go to Blockify and I'll select this object, this window. Okay, now it'll ask you for the block insertion point, because a block is going to be created. So obviously you have to specify the insertion point, right? So I'll pick this insertion point. Then it'll ask you for that you want to in where do you want to search it. I want to search for the similar geometry in the entire drawing, right? It will scan the entire drawing. So entire drawing is the default setting here. So they can just give an enter. Now it'll ask you for a block name. Obviously you have to give a block name because you're going to create a block. So I'll make it say, I'll say W2. It's a 2-panel window. Now just give an enter. See, it has scanned the entire drawing and the number of block inserts 9. Because software has identified 9 similar geometry in the drawing. Okay, let's manually first locate it. This is a block already. And this is again a block. Even this is a block. Now there's a feature in Quad. I'll select it and I'll go to select a menu in Quad. Here you have an option called select similar, which will let you select similar objects. In one go, you have selected all the similar objects in the drawing. So here also we have it. Now you can isolate it. So I'll go to modify, select. Then you can isolate the selected objects. Just click on that. See, you have isolated all the selected objects. And all these are blocks. Okay. These are all blocks. So as I told you before, you have just done the opposite of explode by blockifying the objects. And another interesting feature of Blockify is that it's so fast and accurate, no matter how complex the object be. For example, this particular tree, which I've kept in the interior of the house, is made up of several objects, right? It is not following any pattern. It's all scattered because it's a representation of a tree. Let's see how we can blockify this. So I'll click on Blockify and I'll select this tree. Okay. Then it'll ask you for the insertion point. I'll define it right at the center of this tree. Then I'll take the entire drawing. Now I'll give a file name. I'll call it as a tree 12 trees are identified. See, it's all done in 1 second. You should remember it. It's all done. And that's the processing speed of this software. There's another feature which has attracted me. Okay, I would like to say something about the processing power of BricsCAD because it's a different kind of coding which is done in the software. Okay, so the coding is compacted. The file size of the software is very less memory. It occupies less memory space when you compare it to other CAD softwares. That is one of the features which has attracted me. Okay, if the memory space is less and if the memory management is optimal, then obviously the performance of the software will also be much better in a given platform. Okay, so even in a low-end machines, you can install this BricsCAD. When you compare it to other softwares, it will give you better performance. Now coming to, I'll select this. No, let me just repeat the same process of steps which I've done before. Sorry, I'll select this. I'll go to select similar, then select. I'll go to isolate entities. See, these are all these interior trees are converted to individual blocks. So that is the Blockify feature, one of my favorite features in BricsCAD. Now we come to another type of, another very interesting feature in BricsCAD, that is called parametric 2D blocks. All of you, at least some of you must have used dynamic blocks, right? You know the capability and functionality of dynamic blocks. Dynamic blocks will let you, perform some extended tasks inside a block. Sometimes you may also be in a position to incorporate a little bit of intelligence in the block, but you have to do a lot of tasks for that in dynamic blocks. Whereas here, let's say parametric blocks. So I'll click on parametric blocks. I'll explain it with this particular office drawing. And it's an office floor plan. And we have a number of tables and chairs over here. And there are different designs of chairs. What I'll do is I'll choose this particular chair, this office chair. And you know that when you click on it, it's all made up of several individual objects. And it's clear that it is not a block. It's all made up of different objects. So first of all, I'll blockify this object. So I'll click on Blockify and select this, select all the entities in the chair. And I'll just give an enter. There are 21 entities in this. And now I'll give an enter. Now it will ask you for a block insertion point. I'll choose this point as a block insertion point. Then I want the entire drawing to be scanned. Okay, now it will ask you for a block name. I'll call it as chair. I'll call it as office chair. Oh, it's converted already. It's okay. Fine. Now this is a block, and this is again a block. It's a similar object. Okay, it's again a block. Fine. Now what I'll do is I'm going to edit the block. Okay. In BricsCAD, you can simply edit a block by double-clicking on the block. Just double-click. Just double-click. You will get the block editor here. And I'll just give OK. Okay, there's a block editor interface. Now what I'll do is I'll select a few objects in this, few entities in this. I'll select this horizontal, this vertical line, and this vertical line, this one, and this one. Okay. Now, if you go to parameters and constraints, you can see that none of these objects are constraints and there is no parameters associated. Okay. Now I'm going to give an auto constraint. Okay. It's a very simple task. You go to parametric and here we have an auto constraint feature right on top. Just click on that. The moment you click on that, you will see two constraints, the two parameters displayed here. One is D1, which is 46. D1 you can take, for example, it as the length of the chair, and D2, for example, you can consider it as a width of the chair. So you have to give some meaningful names here for your understanding. So what I'll do is I'll just double click and I'll change the rename this. Okay, so I'll call D1 as length, and I'll double click and I'll call it as width, the D2 as width to rename. Okay. Now, if you need any clarifications on these parameters, you can dynamically see these parameters changing by animating it. So just select the length, right click and animate. This is the length. It will show you an animation, so you can be sure that it is a length. And right click and animate. it is the width. Okay. Now I'm going to save this block. Okay, so I'll go to block editor and I'll save the block. So you can see that these parameters are applied, are attached to all the blocks which you have defined. But that is not the end. What you can do is you can select any desired blocks. For example, I'll select this block and this block. For these two blocks, I would like to change the width. I would like to increase the width. So what I'll do is I'll go to properties panel. I'll go to properties panel, and again width parameter, you can from 36 to you can just concentrate on these two chairs. Okay, I'll make it say 55. So you can see that these two chair width has dynamically changed. Okay, how cool is it, right? You don't have to go through the procedures we should normally do in dynamic blocks. It's so simple. So we have we have converted. I'll just recapitulate what I've done. I've selected I've first converted these lines into this chair objects in the chair into blocks. Then I edited the block. Then I have constrained it, auto constrained it. Then two constraints are attached, length and width. I've renamed it, animated it, saved the block. Then simply by using the properties panel, I have changed the dimensions, the parameters, which is specified. But these two parameters are automatically given by the software because I've clicked on the auto constraint. But if you want, you can also specify manually any parameter. That's also possible. For example, if you want, you can increase the width of the handle, length of this handle, the width of this back of the chair. Every parameter can be flexibly changed, and you can see these parameters in the animated manner. So it's a very cool feature, the parametric 2D blocks. Okay, I love this feature. Now let me come to the next interesting smart feature related with blocks that we call as visibility states. So I would like to use this particular drawing to explain the visibility states. My requirement is to insert a few plans in the interior of this house. Okay, I've got 3 plans here. Okay, these 3 plans are just made up of several entities, and these are all not blocks. So what I'll do is, first of all, I have to convert these into blocks. So I'll go to block command. Then I'll call it as trees. Okay, then I'll specify the insertion point over here. Then I'll select these entities. Okay, it's all converted to a block. And now I'll just double click on the screen to edit the block. Okay. Now I'm going to give a command that is visibility state. Visibility states command. It will give you a manage visibility panel. Over here, I'm going to add new parameter. So click on new parameter. The parameter is tree type. Tree type. I've already defined the tree type. Right click. Add a state. The first state I'll call it as tree 1, as I've done before. Second one, add state, tree 2. Third one, add state, tree 3. And select the first one. Select visible objects. I'll make this visible. Okay. Tree 2. Select visible objects, entities. I'll make this visible. Tree 3, select visible entities, this one. Okay, now I click on tree 1 is visible, tree 2, that's visible, tree 3, that is visible. Okay, now I click on tree 2, then show invisible. Okay, then I'll move this one to the same location. Then tree 3, show invisible is already on, so this is displayed. Now move this and keep it in this location. Okay. Now I can turn off show invisible. Okay. Now you can see that these trees are in the same location. Okay. Now I'll go to save changes. I've saved this. Now there's only a single block here, and in this block, the rest of the blocks are integrated. Okay. But the visibility is controlled, can be controlled by the user using the properties panel. So I'll copy this tree into different locations. I'll copy it over here, and onto this living room. I'll take 2 copies. Okay. Now I'll also take 1 more copy of this onto this bedroom. Okay. Now I want the tree in the living room to be of the tree 2 type. So you select these 2 trees and go to properties panel and you make it tree 2. So those 2 trees are tree 2. Now I'll select these 2 trees and I want those 2 trees to be tree type. So that is convert to tree 3. So likewise, you can integrate as many blocks as you want in a single block, and simply by controlling the visibility status, you'll be able to manipulate these blocks in such a way that, as per your requirement, you can make visible any desired block at any desired locations. So I think it's a very powerful feature. So that's all about visibility states. Now we come to the next feature in BricsCAD that will let you optimize your drawings. Okay, I'll explain it with this particular file. So when you look at this drawing, you can see that it's it's made up of a few lines. But the drawing can also be as complex as this. This is a simple drawing. I'll show you one more drawing. This drawing can be as complex as this. So how do you get such a drawing? What happens to such drawings? So whenever you perform conversions of files, like that AutoCAD DWG, BricsCAD DWG is a very powerful format. It's a well-known format, and this DWG files interoperability is also something to be appreciated, because this DWG files can be used for 3D printing purpose. It can be used to you can export this file to some other file formats, and you can import DWGs. You can also get DWGs through raster to vector conversion. That is, if you have a blueprint drawing, there is a procedure by which such blueprint drawings can be scanned and convert to drawing file formats. Okay, and there can be situations in which you import directly a PDF file into AutoCAD. In all the situations, the files imported may be sometimes erroneous. Okay, with some there cannot be there. Sometimes there may not be perfect horizontality, and the lines may not be perfectly vertical. There can be gaps and overlaps, just as you see here. Okay, in such a scenario, what you normally conventionally do is you manually interfere in all this, right? Because I have done it myself before. After scanning, some of my clients bring blueprint drawings, and I scan those drawings in an A0 size scanner. Then after scanning, you get such line drawings which are broken, literally, which are erroneous. Then you have to manually do a lot of manipulations on it to correct it and to convert into a proper DWG file, right? Whereas in Optimize, if you use, it's a real time saver. You can select the drawing, okay, or you can give Optimize feature. You can click on manage and click on Optimize feature. Okay, you will get this Optimize 2D lines. It's meant for 2D. Okay, 2D lines dialog box you get. Here you have to first select the drawings. So I'll select the drawing, means the lines in the drawing, or you can choose the entire drawing. If you want the entire drawing to be optimized, you can do that. But now what I'll do is, using this arrow key, I'm going to select the entire the lines using a standard window. Now it will tell you that 7 lines are selected. Now you can choose the reference handles to define the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal properties. Okay, so you can this drawing, as you know, is a bit of a mess, and lines are not horizontal and vertical, and there are gaps. So there are different options to control optimization behavior. And these are all different parameters to control the optimization behavior. Okay. Now these lines are slightly inclined. Okay. If you want to make these lines to perfectly horizontal or vertical, I'll give an angular tolerance of 10 or even 7 is okay. The distance tolerance can also be specified and gap tolerance can also be specified. Anyway, I'll give it a gap tolerance of, this is gap tolerance. This is not the default value because I was experimenting with some other file before. The default value over here is 0.05. Okay, and I'll apply it. When you apply it, you can see that now these two lines are horizontal and perfectly horizontal and vertical, and this is perfect diagonal because it has adjusted. This optimized feature has adjusted the inclination of lines in such a way that the lines are perfectly horizontal and vertical. But still, you can make out a gap over here. Okay, I'll just select these two lines using the nearest distance option. You have got the gap between these two lines as 0.35. So this is where you control the gap tolerance. So I'll go to optimize feature, and we have a gap tolerance over here. I should give a value which is more than 0.3. I'll give it a 0.5. Apply this. 0.5 when applied. Oh, so I didn't select it, sorry. I have to select these two lines, right? Applied. Now the gap is filled. Okay, because you have given a gap tolerance, which is the gap tolerance value was above the value of the existing gap. Okay, so optimize is a real time saver. And you can also try it on drawings like this. Okay, but you have to give a higher values for gap tolerances and angle tolerances to perform the cleanups. Okay, so I think I have covered some of the key features, some of the most intelligent features which we consider as in the latest version of BricsCAD. Hope my words has inspired you will definitely inspire you to learn and explore this product. Thank you. You can say a few words.
Thank you, Sabir. Thanks for that presentation. Let's have a quick recap of the amazing machine learning and productivity tools we saw today. Optimize helps correct drawings through our preferred parameters. Boundary detection, a real-time selection tool for bounded elements. Quad cursor and hotkey assistant that work well together to intelligently suggest tools that we might want to use depending on the element that we are selecting. Visibility states, which is a step beyond the usual blocks. And speaking of blocks, we also saw Blockify, a smart tool that helps us easily identify similar geometry and instantly create block definitions. And even beyond Blockify are 2D parametric blocks, which go hand in hand with the auto-constrain command. We have copy guided and move guided, which increase efficiency by letting us skip numerous mouse clicks for drafting work, which we otherwise could have done manually. And let's not forget dynamic dimensions, nearest distance, and the rollover tips, smart tools which support our efficiency. I'm glad that we were able to explain how these differ with traditional tools. What we showed now is BricsCAD Lite, but when you download the free trial, you're able to try out everything. So what's next with our webinars with Sabir? We'll have another one on February 5, but on that date, we'll be focusing on product design and visualization. At the same time, you can see here on the lower left side, there is a BricsCAD promo with Twinmotion. You'll be able to get a free Twinmotion perpetual license with a BricsCAD Pro license. So that is something that is very exciting, and you'll definitely be able to see how you can use this in the next webinar that we have, wherein you'll also see more machine learning tools, but this time in 3D. So it's a very exciting time to see all these developments in software. And I'd like to thank Sabir again for sharing his knowledge today. And thank you everyone for joining us.
You're welcome.
We'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining. And thank you so much for your presence, and looking forward for your presence in the next webinar on February 5th. Thanks a lot.